what you mean.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. So high, I might never come down. So what? This is my lifestyle.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another week's episode. In this episode, we are finally back to Mk2 content. It's been quite a time since I posted about the Mk2, but there's been a lot of progress and there's also some new things that we're going to do to the car today. So first and foremost, Wade came out, he buffed and polished the car. It made a massive difference, so quite happy about that. And then we also got the indicators. We fit the indicators on the side. I think we were waiting for that in the previous video. And then we fit a few other stuff, but we're probably going to take some stuff off as well now because we have decided to go with a big bumper conversion. So we're not sure exactly what we need, but we do have the big bumpers. We got a few other things as well. So we're basically turning it into a GTI look, which is going to look very nice. The chunky bumpers, I'm a big fan of the chunky bumpers. So yeah, we're going to start with that today. We've got we've got a collection of bumpers. I'll show you that now. So let me show you guys what we're working with and we can get straight into it. So we've already got the rear fitted, well test fitted, obviously needs to come off again to be resprayed. But the fit is very nice. It's just slight marks on this part of the bumper. We'll have to see if we can work that out some way. And then I'm going to get some of the Maguire's black back to try and get the black out on this top section. And then obviously eventually we'll have to get the exhaust like we wanted to do previously, just a little bit more to the left and then out a bit more so it comes out past the bumper, if that makes sense. So yeah, that is the rear. And then the front still has the small bumper on. We've got the bigger bumper here, but the current stiffener from this one doesn't fit on here, and we had to source one of that. My dad and Blake managed to get one, so we're gonna have to transfer that stiffener on here. We actually have a collection of bumpers. So over here in storage we've got a graveyard of bumpers. This is the rear that came off, the small bumper, and then this is the front bumper with the yellow one that we've got on the rear at the moment. But there were some issues with the, I can't show you, but there was clips broken on the other side where the stiffener fits. So we decided to get a new bumper. And then that bumper over there, we're using the stiffener. We got the stiffener from that bumper to work on the new bumper. And then in the corner over there, we've got small Mk1 chrome bumpers, but that's for another project. And then we've also got a few other parts that will be fitting.
Subscribe!
So we've got the double light grille for the front. This we'll just swap out to the one that's on the car at the moment. And then we've got two options. We've got the clear indicators as well as the amber. These are just bulbs, and then these are the clips. I think this fits into the fender because the clips differ from the big bumper and the small bumper. So that clip will fit in over here, whereas the one on the small bumper is slightly smaller, so that needs to be changed. And then this bumper comes with the cutout over here, but we couldn't find spots, so my dad's just marking up some plastic and he's going to cover it up. So we're going to have that covered and then everything's going to be sprayed. And then this is the stiffener from the other bumper that's up there. It just clips in by the looks of it. So we managed to get the stiffener fitted. It went in quite easy, well, just a bit of pushing to get the clips in. We've got the cutouts. We're gonna fit that now, but first we wanna test fit the bumper. So we're gonna start with removing the small bumper, test fit that, and then we can put the inserts in. I think we're gonna use Sikaflex. It must still be sprayed, so that's why we're using that, and then they can prep that when they do spray the bumper. These are the two clips. This is the one for the small bumper, and this is the one for the big bumper. This slides into the side of the bumper, and then these are connected to the fender. So as you can see, this one is only one, whereas the big bumper is two. And we are busy drilling a hole over here because it didn't line up, so we're gonna have to drill some holes for this to fit. Oh yes, there's more. Let me show you what else we have. So another thing we got is the spoiler over here, and we got the windscreen that comes with it as well, because the original windscreen that's in at the moment doesn't have holes for this, whereas this windscreen is, when we fit it, I'll show you, there's actually holes in the windscreen where the spoiler fits into. So windscreen secured, spoiler secured. To get both side brackets in. There was slight issues because I think the one side fender is actually a big bumper fender and the other one is not. I might be wrong. There might be two different ones. I'm not too sure, but the one side fender had much more holes in than the other one, which only had one. So I'm thinking that there might be different fenders, but yeah, we managed to get both in. This is the right hand side, so you can see this one has multiple holes in. I'm not too sure why, and on the other side there's only one, but yeah, got it fitted, all snug. Hopefully the bumper fits on perfectly. We'll have to wait and see. And then this is the other side. You can see there was previously just one hole and we had to drill another one. This one is slightly closer to the fender than the one on the other side, so hopefully that is not an issue, but we'll see once we put the bumper back on. So when we fit the bumper, there was a slight gap between the grille and the bumper, which was quite big and looked a bit weird. And then we realized that there was some sort of beading on the yellow front bumper that we got. So this is a beading that we saw was on this front bumper, and it was riveted at the back over here, and we managed to get the rivets off, and now we're going to put it on the other bumper, and that should close the gap or hide the gap at least. So I'm not too sure where you get this, if this is an original part or not, but yeah, this is going to close that gap between the grille and the bumper. So it literally just clips in on top of the bumper like that. They had rivets and screws in. I'm not sure if we're going to rivet it in, but yeah, we're going to fit this and then see what difference that makes. Bumper is on. I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. It really looks good. Fitment is better than I initially expected. That gaps on the sides slight gaps, but that piece, that strip that we got on the previous bumper really helped hide that gap. So once it's on the floor, you don't really notice it as much. So I'm really happy about that. It turned out quite nice. A lot that still needs to be done. Obviously, the bumper needs to be painted front and rear. We're just waiting for those spots sections to be set. But other than that, it's looking good. Let me show you. And there we go. I'm extremely happy with how it looks. Makes the car look so much wider, thicker, and you don't really notice those gaps on the side. I don't know how it picks up on the camera, but yeah, if you're standing over here, this is how you normally would look at it. You don't really see it, but there is a bit of a gap here. Also, we got this grill on for now because we don't have the inner lights. This is also a new grill, so we might as well use it for the time being, keep it on. I do, however, want to get a strip on here, so I'm going to see if I can get that red pinstripe stickers, stick that on. Also, maybe get the longer, wider number plate. That will also make a big difference, and then obviously this will be sprayed white. Sides over here, we don't have the fender linings or the fender arches, sorry. That's something that we need to get. That will fill these slight gaps in the front and rear over here, but that will be filled once we get a fender arch for the front and rear. And there's also one that goes at the bottom. There's one that goes at the bottom over here on the sill. So we're gonna keep our eye out for that. These arches over here. Then mud flaps will come off once everything is fitted properly. You can see there's a slight gap here, but that will be filled once the arch is in. This needs to be, we're going to get that sorted with Maguire's black back. I really like those products. And then obviously we need to fit the windscreen with the spoiler on the rear. So all in all, I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. The results are looking good. It's a process, we will get there, but for now, extremely happy. Car needs to be dropped, we need a wheel, but that's all still coming. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. So just to give some context to this part of the video, my friend reached out to me recently, just finished his build on his Mk1 with a 1.8T swap, and he wanted just to put the car on the lift and check all the bolts at the bottom, everything was tightened on the suspension. He asked me to come around, so I'm just going to show you the car, and then we also took some pulls. He has a YouTube channel, so I will leave the link up here somewhere. You can check his channel out to follow the build.
I'm driving the car and I still feel like wow.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Gee, you got the standard Mk1 brakes here.
That's why I tap off. I've never taken fourth gear right through. I don't know if you're gonna brake or not. It's non-ventilated brakes, not just stand. It's non-ventilated.
Yo, very nice. Very, very nice.
It's actually a very good pull. It's like it actually got traction. Third gear when you change it got traction. But I'll show you now. I'll turn around, I'll put in third gear. When you put flat, like I said, now you just change, then it will spin. Because I think with a small frame turbo, it has a lot of torque because the boost kicking so low down. With a big, a big turbo, the power range is moved up, so they don't spin as much, you know.
Makes sense. Yo, first time actually in a Mk1 with the 1.8.
The 1.8. I've only been in a big turbo one.
Is it?
So I've driven one with it. I think it was a GT30. So the boost only really kicks in at what 3.842, depending on what turbo you have. Here the boost is full on at like 2.5, 2.8.
2.5. But it's my standard ECU.
Standard issue, standard turbo.
And you added tune at J2, no?
In the Mark 4, so it
Yeah.
can still be tuned in this car. It still needs to be tuned in this car. Hopefully the turbo can stay. Then it will be about 169, 170. And we'll probably drop it because then that will be the injectors 100% duty.
Because it's all, everything's standard.
Everything standard. So anything over 165, then you're pushing the standard injectors limit. And then the injectors will just end up giving in.
Yeah.
Pushing it at 100%, you know. Yeah, now the intake is like very louder than the exhaust.
Yeah, it is very loud. But I mean, the car in general is not actually that
It's not loud,
Nah.
like the exhaust is not really loud even when you full boosting it.
Yeah.
It just has a deep note. I think I definitely want to change that intake setup. Try to maybe put a bend on before the turbo so that when you taking off the air that it's pushing
Push.
back in the intake can at least, you know, have a breakage somewhere, then it won't be that loud.
Yeah. You did it in 4 months.
About 4 months, 4.5 months, yeah. 4 months. I
You
started
do it
in-
again. After the first Mark 1 I done, I was like, yo, it's a lot.
think,
It's
you
a
know,
lot of work.
You know, if I won't do it again for fun, if
Yeah.
I'm getting paid to do it, like decent money, I'll do it again.
Nah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, no. It's not an overnight thing.
And your funds, money, it's not a
Exactly.
cheap
Because
thing, bro.
You know, people, like even though I had most of the parts, like my buddy was telling me he wants to do a conversion, and I told him, like, okay, I had most of the parts, and it was still expensive. And I sold parts, and I used that money to buy parts. If you're doing it from your pocket, when
You're
somebody
gonna
says it's going to cost you
fork
between
out.
100 or 150, believe them it's going to cost you
Yeah.
150 because
Yeah.
it's a small thing
That
that
you don't
kills
account for that
Yes,
all accumulates.
exactly.
Split in third. And that's just easing it in. You don't put flat like immediately. Yeah. So when it was in the Mark 4, it was pushing what?
159.
159.
I think 280 usually.
159, 280.
That's the power
very
in the
decent.
Mark 4. And that was a standard Curve 3S.
Oh yes, and you got the bigger turbo
Curve
now.
4, Curve 3 Hybrid is called a Curve 3 Hybrid. It's not all fun and games that people make it seem.
So we ran into a slight problem. I think the CV, inner CV on this side broke. Probably from one of those pulls. I think the last pull, third gear,
Third gear pull.
must have been.
Third gear pull.
So we got stuck on the side of the road. Brought it back to Jason's place here. And he's going to sort that out. But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but that is how it goes in this game. Modifications, always going to run into slight hiccups like this, but that's a quick fix. Well, not too quick, but yeah, nothing too hectic. So he's probably going to sort that out, and then you can check his channel out to see the progress. Once it's back up, we'll maybe do another video with him.